Hi, everyone, and welcome to, well, I guess it's Maverick's podcast tonight. No Dempsey. She's indisposed at the moment in her bedroom. All right, so a couple months ago, we had the NFL draft. All right, I was right on most of the picks. I was wrong about Drake May. I had Drake May going to Minnesota, I believe, is what I called, and J.J. McCarthy going to the Patriots. Pretty sure that's what I did. I didn't go back and check, but those two I were wrong about. You can flip flop those. I was wrong. But this past week we had the NBA draft. I got nothing to tell you about that. I don't know that much about college basketball. I know even less about European. So the first I think two picks were from France. I mean, who saw that coming? All right, so then Friday we had the NHL draft, and I certainly don't know about minor league and college, not minor league, but college hockey players and where they're coming from, or if, hey, maybe some were coming from the minor league. I'm not really sure. So I don't have anything to say about the NHL draft. But like I said, I knew where I was wrong about the NFL draft, and that brings us to where were you right or wrong, or where were you most right and most wrong when it comes to sports? Because it did make me remember times that I nailed it and times where I just completely blew it, completely screwed the pooch. And Jamarcus Russell absolutely has to be the biggest time I was completely wrong. I thought Jamarcus Russell was going to be a stud. I saw him play in the bowl game against Brady Quinn in Notre Dame. He outshined Brady Quinn, and I thought he was going to be a big deal. I thought he was going to be a stud in the NFL, just like he was in college. And he's arguably the worst draft pick of all time, certainly the worst number one. And his only rival really is Ryan Leaf, who went number two after Peyton Manning. So that was a pretty big miss by me, a pretty big whiff. But you're blinded. You know, it's that purple and gold blind spot. LSU. You know, I was wrong about the Patriots versus the Falcons. My New England Patriots at the time, not anymore. I don't care now since Brady's gone. But the New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons. I turned the game off. With fully intended to turn back on, but I turned it off. It was 28-3, and I'm like, I gotta cash out. I need a break. I'm really miserable, and I'm watching my team go down in flames. Then I tuned back in, and they had scored like two touchdowns, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the comeback's happening. And I stayed with it then and watched them win the most epic comeback of all time. But I gave up for the time being. I'm not the only one. Mark Wahlberg gave up on him too. He left the arena, so at least it wasn't that bad. But I was wrong about that. I was right about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has been a stud in the NFL. He's already been to a Super Bowl. His first full season in the NFL, he took the worst team in the NFL to the Super Bowl, and he took himself to a Super Bowl in his first full season because he was injured the first season. If he can get over those injuries, then he's going to win a Super Bowl. You know, we just hope he stays healthy. I was right about Jameis Winston. All right, I was right about him coming out of college. He was a dumpster fire at Tampa Bay. I was right about him when the Saints got him. I've been right the whole time about Jameis Winston. He's a bum, and I don't use that term lightly. He's a bum. He's a loser. He hurts women, and he's an interception throwing machine. Jameis Winston, I was right about. All right. Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. I was right about that one. I always knew Evander Holyfield had Mike Tyson's number. All right. A year ago, here's a more recent one. A year ago, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Ryan. Excuse me. Anyway, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. All right, that was one I was right about. That one wasn't a year ago. That one I was right about. I was right about Ryan Garcia getting the win. I was also right about Ryan Garcia losing to Tank Davis a year ago. I even called the sixth round, and a body shot. I got that one right. I nailed that one. Nailed that one. Should have bet on it. Wish I was a betting man. I would have won something. So those were some of the right and wrong in sports. Now, that also gets me thinking about pop culture. Where were you right or wrong? Today I saw the movie Inside Out 2 with Dempsey. I thought the movie was going to stink. The movie was actually pretty good. Was it great? No. It was a total chick flick. Would I seek it out? Would I watch it again by myself? Absolutely not. It was not a 4-star movie like that. But it was good enough where I'd watch it again with my kid, and I wouldn't just diddle on my phone the whole time. and I wouldn't do that. I didn't do that in the theater this time. I checked my phone a couple times, but more like checking plans for later. But it wasn't one of those, not one of those where I just gotta be like, okay, hey, this is great, and I'm just looking at my phone or listening to a podcast or something. So Inside Out 2 was pretty good. So that was something. I try not to get political. I don't really want to get political, But COVID, I was basically right on everything about that. I was right about masks. When most of the rest of the people and everything you were hearing or turned out they were wrong on that. I was right about that stupid 6-foot rule being made up. I was right about most of it. I mean, y'all may hate to hear. Some of you out there may hate to hear that, but it's true. I was right. Because it's like, oh, you're not a doctor. Well, the thing is, how often do you see the healthiest people being a doctor? They know a lot about medicine. They know a lot about prescriptions. Do they know a lot about health? Do they know a lot about sunlight? Do they know a lot about a natural immunity? Do they know? Who's paying who? Nobody was paying me. All right. Get whatever doctor you have out there. Throw us through a physical, and we'll see who comes out the healthier person. I had people who were chain smoking. I had chain smoking obese people telling me I didn't know what health was, and I was endangering people. Yeah. People who I'm all right. I won't get too personal. I won't get too into it or too detailed, but I'm just constantly seeing that I was right about a number of things there. So yeah, and if you got a problem with that, I'm sorry. Have a problem with the lies that you believed, right? So, and which I don't think was getting political. I mean, I'm not getting political about right or left. The right and left had people that were wrong on both sides, right? Both the presidential candidates were wrong, So it's not really political. It's a health thing. If you want to know health, maybe you shouldn't talk to that fat, overweight doctor pulling his belt up to his chest to hide his belly. All right, maybe that's not the guy to listen to. Maybe it's the guy that wakes up in the morning, hits the road to run 7 miles for his first workout of the day, first of 3. Maybe that's the guy you should listen to. The guy who doesn't know what a cheat meal or a treat meal is because he just eats healthy all the time because he enjoys it and he enjoys the way it makes him feel. Maybe that's who you should listen to. All right, that's a little long-winded. Probably didn't think you were going to get that in this podcast, but you got it, all right? What about other times you were right and wrong? I was wrong when I showed my daughter Caddyshack 2. I thought she would like that movie. She hated it. She walked out on it. No, that one she stayed. She stayed, but she didn't like it. Men at Work, Milo Estevez, Charlie Sheen. I want to take another shot at that one with her, with the Garbage Men. But she walked out on that one. She walked out on Loverboy with Patrick Dempsey. Turned out it was a good idea because the movie was a little more risque than I remembered. But those were some things I was wrong about. Just where were you right? Where were you wrong? See it in the comments. Give me a like. Maybe you were wrong to watch this podcast if you didn't want to hear that you were wrong about COVID. I don't know. Maybe you're glad you listened to this podcast because you found out you were right. Maybe you're right to stay with this podcast. Maybe you were right to subscribe. You certainly were right to subscribe to this podcast. Tune in next time and come up with a new topic for you guys on Maverick and Dempsey's Rundown.